We're going to continue with our game development. We have already put our character together. We put our idle costume and running costumes together, and our character can move back and forth, look like they're running, and stand still. Right? We put the ability to move back and forth in this forever loop. If the right arrow is pressed, move. We also checked the costume number. We made sure our costumes were in the right zone. If the costume number was too big, we set it back to the original costume. And the same with the left arrow. And then we have our idle animation. If I'm not moving, right, if I have not pressed the right or left arrow key, I go to the next costume and I make sure I restrict my costume. If it's less than 16 or more than 30, I put it back to the original idle costume, keeping it in that zone. So that's how we had this character to walk around. What I want to add now is some background, some of the scene, and I want to put in some sprites to make the world. So how do I make the world here? What do I do? So I want to first find some sprites for the background, various scenery. So again, you can look lots of places. You can look for background sprites, right? Some assets. They have lots of places you can find backgrounds, or just do a Google search for game background. Right, any of those. Right, this is a nice one. That's a nice little scene. I'm going to have to use that. Right, you can open this up. Use some backgrounds here. I like this mountain here. This is pretty good. You want to try a couple different things because you don't know if the size is going to be right. Right, so you want to make sure you have the right size. So download a few of them. Give them a try. I like this one. Save image. So I'll put that in here, and then I'll try this one. And I have a couple different problems here we'll do, and then one more I want to use. Let's see, what's a good one? Ooh, spooky background. See if you can make your theme. If you don't want to look for one in particular, you can sort of use some pre-made ones. That's a pretty good one. A great website, again, like I said before, is this one here, 2D art with all these characters. Down here are some particular tile sets you want to use that you can use to set up your world. So a background might be like this nice scene background here. So I downloaded those. We're going to use those for the background, and we're going to use those for the tiles. So to make your background, let's use some of those backgrounds. Go to the stage down here, and you're going to set the backgrounds in your stage. Now, Snap does come with some built-in backgrounds, but again, these are not great. You can try using these. They've got this brick wall here. That might be an interesting level. You've got your desert level, city. Got some live levels if you want to do that. Another brick wall. So if you want to use some of those, you can. But again, I think better to find some of your own and use those. So I'm going to delete these. Right-click and delete. Or can I just press the delete button? No, I've got to just right-click and delete. I'm going to use some of my own backgrounds that I found. So we put them here in our asset folder. We had this sky hill that was pretty good. If I drag this in, so there it is. It's a little bit off, so I can change its size a little bit. But let's see, where was that other one I had? Friday again. Oh, that's a pretty good one. Oh, see, again, too small. The size you're looking for is a particular size. But let's see, I have another background here, winter tile set. So I downloaded one of the winter tile sets. There's some PNGs, I want to use those. There's the background here. Again, a little too small. If I size it up, if I stretch it out, what I can do is, where'd it go? Switch to costume, stretch current costume. I can make it a little bit bigger. Ooh, it's a little bit too big. Let's make it a little bit smaller. That's pretty good. And I can do the same with this background here. I want to make it a little bit wider. Oh, no. Wider is the X direction. There we go. So this will be one level. This will be a second level, and that'll be a third level. So I have these different levels here I can use as backgrounds. If you want to find, a good one that's the right size. The size of the stage is, I think it's 400 by 600, something like that. More square, better. So I'm gonna use these as my levels though. This is fine. These three backgrounds here. Level 1, level 2. I'll make that level 2. So this will be level 1, level 1, level 2. No, I want to make this level 2. Level 1, level 2, and level 3. This will be our 3 levels. So the second thing I need to do is add some sprites for the world. I want to have my little character walk around on the ground. I want to have them walk on the ground, right? I want to put it in gravity so they can jump around and jump from platform to platform. So to do that, I need to add some sprites. I'm going to put some new sprites. These new sprites are going to be the various platforms that my character needs to use to jump from one space to the next, from one spot to the next. And there's a lot of ways you can do this. You can build your own little platforms. If you want to draw something, draw a particular color for the ground. Maybe have it be green or blue. You can draw yourself a little square like this. And these can be your platforms here. But that's a little boring, a little bit not interesting. Better, I think, is to use some assets, like I said, these particular tiles here, or find some sprites that you want to use in your assets. So I found a few of those. I thought those are pretty good. The winter tile set, if we do that, let's see if I go to PNGs here. Under tiles, we have all these little squares that are different platforms. And the 3 in particular I want to use are like this one, and this one. This is like a little platform I can make. So if I want to make this platform, I need to drag each one of these in as a background. So there's one. I need a new sprite for my next one, and another new sprite for the other side. So there's my three sprites making this platform. And I put them together like this, and now I have a platform. Now it's a little big, so I'm going to shrink this down, line them up. I'm going to shrink this platform down so that I can make it fit in the world. So in my sprites, delete that old one, I want to change the size, set the size to, let's call it 50%. That's pretty good. Same thing here, set this size to 50% and this size to 50%. Whatever size you want to use is fine. Now I've got these 3 sprites, these 3 backgrounds. I want to set them up so my character can walk around on them. And I can, if I want to make this longer, I would just add another sprite and put in, let's say, another middle one, another middle piece. Change its size again to 50%, and line them up the way I want. So let's say I want another one here. I just put this sprite here and make the platform the size I want. Okay. So that's my platform. What I want to have happen now is I want my character to fall down and land and be able to walk on this platform. Be able to walk and be able to jump up and fall back down. So we need to add a few things to this character. We need to add a jumping, well, we need to add gravity, and we need to add the ability to jump and fall, and we need to add some different costumes so we can make it look like it's jumping, look like it's falling. So let's first add gravity. To put gravity in here, we have our forever loop in our game, right? Our game says we have this flag is clicked to broadcast new game. We have a new game. We put in all this ability to jump around. So I want to map another if statement to this game list of if statements about falling down with gravity. So I want to say, I could use if or if else. Let's use the if else. I think that worked out okay last time. For gravity, I want to say if I am not touching these, right? If I'm touching these ground things, I want to not move. if I'm touching one of these sprites, remember I have these 4 different sprites. All 4 of these sprites are my ground. So if my character is touching any of the sprites, I want them to stop moving. So I need to test, am I touching any of these? And this is going to be a lot of OR testing. A lot of testing for if I'm touching this sprite, or this sprite, or this sprite, or this sprite, and any other sprite I add where I want it to count for the ground, I need to add it to this this test for the ground. So we're going to have a lot of sprites. So I want to use a custom test to see if I'm touching the ground. This is going to take too long if I have to add them every time. So I want to make one sprite where I'm testing touching the ground. So to do that, I'm going to make a custom block. So click on Make a Block. You can use any of these if you want the motion operators. I'm going to choose operators, Make a Block. And we want to make a predicate block where we're doing a test. We're testing if we're touching the ground. So I'm going to call it touching ground. Use the green. And click OK. So in this, I want to do a bunch of tests to see if I'm touching this sprite, or this sprite, or this sprite, or this sprite. I'm going to rename these sprites. Well, I guess they're just sprite 2, sprite 3, sprite. That's fine. I'll just rename them later. So I'm going to go to sensing, and I want to say, am I touching these different sprites? So I want to know, am I touching sprite number 2, or sprite number 3, or sprite number 4? So I'm going to copy this and put it back in here. Or touching sprite 3. Copy it again. Or touching sprite 4. Copy it again. Oops, copy it again. Or touching sprite 5. And I would, every time I add a sprite to my list of the ground, I would have to see in this hall all these different tests. I'm testing if I'm touching this sprite, or this sprite, or this sprite, or this sprite, and I have a blank here. The blank's okay, leaving room for the next ones. And I put all that into the report, and that's my test. Am I touching the ground? You have all those tests there. So now if I go to the green operators, if I look at the bottom here, there's my touching ground test. So I want to say, if I'm touching the ground, do nothing. If I'm not touching the ground, then I want to fall or move the Y direction by -5, let's say. So there we go, right? You see I'm falling now, my character falling. Over here it's going to fall. Whoop, too much. Back to the middle. And I can move left and right. Now the next thing I need to do is be able to jump. That's my next step. I need to be able to jump. Oh, my character moves a little bit too much. Oh, that's fine. So my character can land on the ground. Now that I'm on the ground, I want to test my ability to jump. So to make a jump ability, again, we're going to do another if. See, every little test you do is another if statement. If I'm pressing the space key, that's going to be my jumping command. If I press the space key, I want to move my character up. Change Y by 10, that's fine. So I'm jumping and falling, jumping and falling, jumping and moving, jumping and moving. So now my character can jump around, can move back and forth. The one thing I need now is to change my costume so that I have an ability to, so it looks like it's jumping, looks like it's falling. So I'm going to go back to my assets for the little character I made. It's called Flat Boy, and I have some jumping animations. There's a jumping animation. I don't want to have to do all the jumping animations together. I want to pick one that's jumping up and one that's jumping down, one that's falling down. So you see, this is going to be my falling down animation right there, jump number 13. I'm going to pick one scene for jumping up and one for jumping down. So this is going to be my, let's see, jumping up will look like that. Falling down will look like that. So that's jumping down. And this will be jumping up, number 6. So what I need now is I have these two jumping ones. That's falling down. This is jumping up. When I jump up, I want to change to costume, to that jumping costume. So here's my jumping, right? If I press the space key, I want to switch to the costume for jumping up. That was this number 2, right? And if I'm falling, here's my falling ability. I want to switch to the costume for jumping when I'm falling down. So there it is, jumping up, falling down, jumping up, falling down, jumping up, falling down. So I have this ability to move now and jump. So again, what we did is we set up this custom block under the operators. We custom blocked our touch and ground ability. We made a block and we said for every sprite, all these different sprites I added here for the ground, I tested to see if I was touching that. So am I touching sprite 2 or sprite 3 or sprite 4 or sprite 5? And I just kept repeating this, duplicating, and more tests. So every sprite I add for the ground, I add another test to see if I'm touching that sprite. Okay, so that's how we can do our test, and we added our animation, our costumes for jumping up and down. So that worked pretty well. So the next thing I need is the ability to change from one scene to the next. One scene to the next. I need to add a few more sprites over here so I can jump from one platform to the next platform. So I'll make a new sprite. I'm going to put some more flat pieces there. Let's see. I had this was winter set, and I had my images, my objects, my tiles rather, and I have these other tiles. I'm going to use tile number 1, 2, 1 and 2. I need 1 for this. Oop, again, too big, but I'll shrink it down. And tile number 2. I'm going to make this be the thing I'm jumping onto, right? So let's make it 50% size by 50%. And the same thing with this one, 50%. And I'm going to set these up so they look like it's something to jump to. So here's my jumping to this set here. So I just added 2 more tiles. Now if I run and jump on them, it's not gonna stick. My character's gonna fall through because I didn't add them to my ground, right? They're not part of the ground yet. I haven't labeled them as pieces of my ground. So I need to go back to my operator, adjust my touch and ground definition, and add, what do I add? Sprite 6 and 7 now, okay? So there's, again, add sprite 6 and 7. Where'd sprite 6 go? And there's sprite 7. No, I don't see sprite 6 in my list. Duplicate this again. We'll try to adjust. Oh, it's just I'm touching on sprite 7. Here we go. Let's go here again. Edit sprite 6. There we go. So now I added sprite 6 and 7 now to my ground, and now if I jump on them, now it's part of the ground. That's a little weird, but that's okay. All right. So there's my jumping ability. I can jump from one platform to the next. And now I want to be able to change the scene. So we'll get to that part next. Thanks for watching, everybody.